Hello everyone, this is Yoon, and for my project, I am going to look into Korean EFL learners' use of these in L2 academic writing at different proficiency levels. So this is actually an excerpt from one of my papers during graduate school, and the red box indicates the word this. And the following says, emphasizes the need for more research on learners' acquisition of second or foreign blah blah blah. So here, this refers to the broad context or quotation that was mentioned before. And one of the feedback that I got was this what? And a question that I had was, should I refrain myself from using this without a following noun phrase in academic writing because it's unclear and it's vague? And I wondered how other EFL learners or how other native English speakers might be utilizing this in their academic writing. To give you a brief introduction on what attended and unattended this and these is, I show you two sentences. The first one has a noun phrase after this. So this demonstrative is called attended this or a determiner because it is modifying a noun phrase. However, the second sentence doesn't have a noun phrase after this, so it is usually called unattended this or a pronoun because it is standing alone. According to research, when a demonstrative is followed by a noun, that noun is the true reference item. The noun provides lexical cohesion. So attended this and these have been encouraged to be written in academic writing, mostly, according to research. However, when it comes to unattended this and these, because they refer to broader ideas, statements without a following noun phrase can bring confusion to the readers and disrupt the cohesion of the text. So research is saying that attended this and these provides textual cohesion, whereas unattended this and these can bring confusion by disrupting the cohesion of the text. However, we can say that just because there is no noun phrase after this and these doesn't mean it is ungrammatical. So the use of attended and unattended this and these is not a grammatical issue, but more of a stylistic issue. And there have actually been a lot of empirical studies that looked into L1 academic English. And despite the commonly mentioned notion that unattended this and these is vague, highly skilled L1 writers of academic English use unattended this and these for textual cohesion and the production of linguistically complex texts, which are associated with higher quality of writing. However, little is known about the use of attended and unattended this and these among second language writers of academic English across different proficiency levels. Previous recent empirical studies, however, did not use a reference corpus to compare the results of the L2 learners' data. And in order to make a better L1, L2 comparison and observe the developmental patterns across different levels of academic writing proficiency, a learner corpus and a native English speaker corpus need to be examined together. So the current study aims to explore Korean EFL learners' use of sentence initial this, these in their academic writing by comparing their use with that of advanced native English speaker students. So research question number 1 is, how frequently do Korean EFL learners across different proficiency levels and native English speaker students use sentence initial attended and unattended this, these in academic writing, and what are the differences among the 4 groups? The second research question is, what are the environments in which sentence initial unattended and attended this, these occur in the Korean EFL learners data and also the native English speakers data as well, and to what extent are the environments different? So for the learner corpus, I used Yonsei English Learner Corpus, also called YELC, and this corpus consists of argumentative essays written by Korean EFL students in pre-university level. And I divided up the learners into 3 different groups, lower level, intermediate level, and higher level. For the native English speaker corpus, I used the Michigan corpus of upper level student papers, and the data consists of argumentative essays written by only native speaker students. And because the number of words in each corpora are different, I provide the normalized values for the results. So in order to answer research question 1, I used Incong to calculate the frequencies of sentence initial this, these in the 4 corpora, and then I manually coded attended and unattended sentence initial this, these. And these have been completed. In order to answer research question 2, I did a cluster analysis using Incong, and I identified the most common 2-word, 3-word, 4-word, and 5-word clusters of sentence initial this, these. In the future, I plan to do a concordance analysis of the noun phrases that come after attended this and these, and also a concordance analysis of the most frequent unattended this and these clusters to see how learners are differently using them in their academic writing. So if you look at this table, you can see that the learners' use of unattended this and these is increasing as their proficiency level increases, and for the higher level students, their use is almost similar to the native English students. However, one interesting result was the red box. For attended this and these, we can see that the native English speakers use this exceptionally a lot. However, the order of using attended this and these goes kind of backwards among the learners. So the lower level learners use more than the higher level learners. So here I show you the most common 2-word clusters of sentence initial this and these in the 4 corpora, and the most frequently used cluster was this is among all 4 corpora. And one interesting result was that the lower level learners and the intermediate level learners used this problem, this situation a lot, and the higher level learners used this situation a lot as well. However, these 2 clusters did not appear in the native English speakers data. Here I show you the most common 3-word clusters, and interestingly, most of them are unattended uses of this and these, starting with this is. In terms of the 4 and 5-word clusters, we can see that the intermediate level learners and higher level learners used this is the reason why a lot in their academic writings to kind of support their opinions using evidence and reasons, whereas for the native English speakers, they used this is not to say a lot. One interesting thing that I could observe when I was analyzing the data was the length of the noun phrases after sentence initial this. So we can see that the lower level learners are using very simple nouns after this, whereas the native English speakers use very complex nouns in front of this, or after this. So I thought this was really interesting, and I plan to look into this more deeply in the future. So I'm still in the process of analyzing my data. So in the future, I plan to do a concordance analysis of the noun phrases after this and these, which I just mentioned briefly, and compare the simple noun phrases and the complex noun phrases among the 4 corpora. And also, I want to look into the most frequent unattended this, these clusters. So in my data, it was this is, these are, and this means. And I want to look into how the 4 groups are using them differently. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me during the synchronous Q&A session. Thanks.